1, 2, 3. Quiet on the set. Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on November 20th. That's it. November 20th, 2024. Look who we have here at the start of the show. The great Gavin Johnston. Everything about recruitment.com.
And one of the things that I'm finding is that the new generation of younger recruiters in agencies, they don't like to pick up the phone anymore. And so they like to learn how to write nice posts and do inbound marketing and all that. And I can't teach those people that. I'm not interested in working that way. And so it's good that there's a variety of different kinds of trainers and coaches out there, okay, even if they disagree.
Let me ask you something, though. You don't believe that those methods work very well. Am I right about that? And the one of you said was posting content on like LinkedIn and getting people to see how smart you are and how much you know your field and coming to you, inbound marketing, right? And the other one was sending out compelling emails for business development and recruiting, or just one or the other. What were the emails for? For everything?
Business development and attracting candidates.
Okay, you don't believe in that. You're a phone guy, right? You don't even believe.
You know what? Every single system works, but it's a question about how effective and how productive they are.
That's like saying, no, every system doesn't work, because, yeah, they all work, but some of them are garbage, and they're going to get mediocre recruiters, and some of them are really good. And you believe that leaving voicemails is wrong, okay? You believe getting on the phone and talking to people is right, okay? Now you're telling me that these young punks, they don't want your wisdom. They want to, hide behind their typewriters and put articles on LinkedIn and have people come to them and send fancy emails out and have people knock on their door. And I don't think you believe that works. Yes or no, Gavin?
Correct.
Okay. So do you tell them that? Do you say, listen, punk, I'm a man with 20 years experience here. I know what works. You don't. Okay. Do you tell them that straight out?
No, because as soon as I say I've got 20 years experience, they'll go, yeah, you're an old fart. Get out of here. You don't know about the new ways of doing things. And then I ask about their billings and they go, hey, I billed 80,000 this year. QED.
And you say, what do you say then? You suck. Okay. If you want to be a big shot, stick with me. Learn something. Have a beginner's mind. Is that what you do? Hi, Rich. Hi, Tommy. We're pumping Gavin.
Hi, guys.
Information here. Well, how do you deal with those kids?
If the guy's being, too pushy and absolutely convinced about that new way of working with inbound marketing, I'll tell them what I think. Yeah.
Okay.
So, Gavin,
and do you
so Gavin, so you're still an old school cold call voicemail guy, or no?
But I don't like the idea of just pure cold calling. For me, it's much more about bringing a solution to a problem. So I'll do my market mapping beforehand.
What does that mean? Okay, we don't even know. But first of all,
Gavin,
Rich, you believe in voicemail. He doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, well, listen, I mean, Gavin, you like a very small market. You're like, hey, here's your 100 companies. Go to town.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but then he gets on the phone. I don't know why he doesn't send out emails like these kids do. He gets on the phone. He doesn't even believe in leaving a voicemail. He wants to talk to people, right?
But why? I mean, like voicemails. I mean, listen, voicemails are moderately useless, but you still got to leave them because now it becomes a text.
But I think, honestly, from everything that I've heard in the last 2-3 years, I think in America, North America, voicemails will probably work better than in Europe. But in Europe, the percentage chance that you're ever going to get a response to a voicemail is more or less zero.
He doesn't want a response. He just wants him to hear his name again and again. But when he gets him on the phone, it's a warm call.
Yeah,
it doesn't work like that, though, because if you're going to be coming out with a pitch and you're coming with a pitch,
but that's a wrong voicemail. But all you got to say is, hey, this is Rich Rosen, or just say, hey, listen, I left you an email. It's going to come from rich@cornerstonesearch.com. Hey, listen, take a look, respond by email if that's easier for you. That's it. But they see your name, they see your information, and it's another touch point.
I wouldn't do that.
Text.
I like it for as a final thing. If I can't get a hold of somebody, what else can I do? right?
Yeah.
So I'll leave
Yeah.
a message that way. And I posted this earlier. I left a message at a tattoo parlor for a guy who had gotten his tattoos there. He actually called me back, and I placed him for a $26,000 fee. I wouldn't have got a hold of him any other way. But I left a message at his tattoo parlor. So
You left that part of the
nothing
story.
works
You
time, but
didn't
I don't think
oh,
anything's
wait. You did some online research on the guy, and you found on his Facebook page that he went to this one. Well, he liked tattoos, and he went to this one place. So then you knew where to go, and you left a message there for him, right?
I love that. I absolutely love that. That's a great.
Tom, I'm
great
talking to you. Wake
perspective.
up, and he's complimenting you. Okay, or if you want to check out, go ahead. I don't know.
Yeah. I was using Been Verified. All these numbers I had for him. Went to his Facebook page. He had a little bit kind of locked down where it was hard to message him and stuff. You know how if you message him, they have to accept it and all that bullshit. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to leave a message at this tattoo parlor because he had tons of pictures of his tattoos, and that like this was his favorite parlor, and I had their number. So I said, hey, can you ask him to call me?
Why'd you call it? Anyway, it sounds for such a tough looking tattoo. It's such a gay sounding name. You ever think of that?
Okay, let's come back to
Cut that
Gavin.
out. There you go. See? Did
So
you
hold on one second.
Your
One second,
girlfriend
Tom.
too? Yeah.
Tom, you don't do what Rich does. You said you leave a voicemail as a last resort. Rich sees it as a compliment to his other means of contact.
Yeah, and I mean, again, you put everything in the same box as like, oh, that's all I do. It just depends, right? Sometimes I'll do what Rich does. Sometimes if it's a person I feel like I need to talk to because I need to overcome an objection, or I don't want to leave anything to chance, I will do everything in my power to get a hold of that person first before I leave. That will be like a last resort. But in some other cases, I may just leave message after message if I can't get a hold of them because they look okay on paper. If they want to call me back, great. If not, fuck them, right? Like it just depends.
Okay, but Gavin's completely against it. But then he prefaced that statement with something about I do my market mapping first, and then what does
Well,
that?
Let me just explain something to you. Let me just explain to you why I don't want to leave a voicemail, right? Hiring managers typically spend 96% of their job doing their job, which is an operational job, right? They
No,
don't do
I'm not sure. It all depends on their field. Like sales guys, sales leaders, half their job is hiring.
That's not in my audience that I've been talking to, and the people, the recruiters that I train. That's not what I'm hearing. Maybe things are different in your audience, but that's not what I'm hearing. But what I do know is that a lot of hiring managers do not actually know what we do as recruiters.
True.
And so what is their basis? They're bombarded by recruiters wanting to come and propose them stuff and pitching. But if they're spending, if you're doing 4 or 5% of your time in your job on something, you don't know it very well. But there's one thing that you can differentiate people by. It's what their margin that they're going to be asking. So, of course, the easy way out for a hiring manager is, what margin are you asking? Oh, well, that much. Or, I've already got a recruitment company I'm working for. Why would I let you come in? Yeah. So basically, they are going to create a barrier. If I leave a voicemail, there's a bigger chance, for all the reasons I've just mentioned, that they're not going to want to talk to me. And I just want to be able to have the possibility of talking to the person, responding to whatever objections they've got, because I've got more chance of doing that by voice than by
I agree 100%.
voice.
But that's like saying, hey, I shouldn't send an email either because they're going to know what I'm about. I mean,
But I don't send emails.
well,
I mean, I understand what Gavin's saying makes sense, because I say this a lot. You cannot overcome an objection on email on so if they hear your email and go, oh fuck it, I'm not looking, or I don't have any openings, you can't overcome that. So I get what Gavin's saying in that respect. That's why I said it's case by case.
listen, you've already dialed the phone. You might as well leave your name, because you don't have to say what you're calling about, but to say, hey, listen, I'm only going to give them information if they hear my voice is super limiting. And look, for Gavin, and to Gavin's credit, if you're only going to go after 100 companies, which I think is smart and dumb at the same time. Like I do, I think I get it. I love it in theory. And it depends on the vertical you're in. But when you're only going after 100 companies, it's a very small niche. You got 100 CEOs, CROs to go after, whatever your target is. Oftentimes, where for me, I can call 100 companies a day. Just because, partly I'm too broad, partly because it's just a crazy industry for software. But, the more times they hear your name, the more they get to know who you are. And then they finally pick up the phone. And again, it's not pitching. It's not giving your verbal diarrhea of a pitch on the voicemail.
Right.
It's saying, hey, listen, I'm just following up on an email I sent. It's going to come from this. Or, hey, listen, just call me back that way. Text me, whatever's easier for you. Or, if you're going to leave a message, much like with an email, you're going to basically end up just saying, listen, here's this is the problems we solve for. Does this make sense for you? Hey, check the email, hit me back. Because you're not pitching, you're going to end up pitching as if, that their problems, their pains, how to solve what ails them because you're going to talk like them.
Okay, but Rich, lots of people said that if they keep hearing your name on their voicemail, they'll just get pissed off at you for being too persistent, and they won't want to talk to you.
I'm persistent. That's why I'm successful at what I do. You want me to be persistent finding you a candidate, but you don't want me to be persistent in my business development? Sorry,
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
I mean, listen, not everyone's going to be your friend. It's okay.
There are sources and clients. Which one are you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I mean, I've been sent an email lately this week that's basically like, hey, listen, I know I've sent you a couple of emails. This guy was really interested in your company. If not, I know we'll just move on to your competitor X or whatever. And sometimes some people gotten back to me because of it. Now they want to know who the person is.
Really? Wow! You're calling up and saying, Bill, I've got a great person who's a sales rep with this experience. If you're interested, I'd like to have a chat with you. If not, I'll go across the street. You know that company that you're competing with. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, this is the company, but if you're not hiring, then this is the space the guy knows. This is what he's interested in.
So you're like sort of threatening them to give them to the competition. Oh, yes, it's a threat.
Not a threat.
Oh no.
Hey, I gave you the first right. Is that a threat?
It's not a threat. It's putting a time constraint on it.
Yeah. It's called having client ownership or operational ownership. It's not, a threat is like, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to fuck you up. We're going to steal all your
Yeah, we're going to fuck you up. We're going to send them to your competition to fuck you up. That's what we're going to do.
If you're not interested, I understand. Well, again, to me, especially because I deal with sales guys, so it's maybe a different mindset. I expect a little professional courtesy. Like I expect to get a response. I never do, but I respect the responses. Because these guys are doing the same fucking thing. They know exactly what we're doing. Like to Gavin's point, most people don't understand recruiting whatsoever. Like the people we're calling, but sales guys understand the outreach, and but so if I can put a message like that because they're going to understand it.
Okay, Gavin, you're not worried that they'll get sick of hearing your voice on the voicemail and have ruled you out by the time. That's what it sounds like, that they'll have ruled you out. You'll have a big obstacle to getting through it. If you ever actually get them on the phone, they're going to hate you already, and that's just an extra problem. Is that what you're saying?
It's interesting because maybe in the US things are different, but here over in Europe, you're going to have country per country, you're going to say, for example, France, they just forget talking to recruiters. It's like a special, different race. To give you an idea, in the UK, there's 30,000 recruitment agencies. In France, for the same population, there's 6,000. Yeah, it just hasn't cottoned on yet that you can use external recruiters to find your people, right?
That's a new market, man. I'm going to open up a market in France.
We're doing work in Germany now.
That's what we're doing this year.
France. But like I'm doing a search in Germany right now, and I've been texting people on WhatsApp. Like I've got clients in the UK really like, listen, I won't respond to email, don't respond to voicemail, but if they're on WhatsApp, then I'll respond.
Yeah, and in France it's Slack.
Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Because in France they'll say, "Oh no, WhatsApp, that's for private."
Yeah.
Germany, for example, is again a different kettle of fish because in Germany, the best way to get into an organization is through a referral. They're all very tightly knit, and it's much easier to get somebody else to say, "Can you just drop my name and say that I'll be calling them?" And normally, you've got 100% success rate like that.
Okay, before I forget,
the area is different.
I got 5 minutes, and then I got to hop.
Okay, before I forget, Gavin, this person said he's working a niche right now, and he's worried that it's too small. In Atlanta, there's only 50 people in a potential talent pool, and in the whole United States, there's 5,000. Is that too small? He's having problems.
you're going to look in a bit more detail than that, but 5,000 is too big.
It's
50
too big.
is small. Yeah.
Not
Is
me.
it perm or is it staffing? What's the mobility? I mean, you've got industries where people move every 7-8 years. Then you'll need more candidates. Then you've got others like in sales where they'll move every 1.5 to 2 years. Then you need less. You know, you've got to do an analysis of the exact sector. And
Okay, so I'm not giving you enough information. Although Rich does
Yeah,
want
I
to.
mean, that's
correct
just
you
what
for
it
the
comes
next
down
5
to
minutes,
is
okay?
Gavin's right. Every sector's different. You have to do the analysis. That's Steve Finkel 101. You know, to look at what companies in your market, your niche, your industry, whatever,
Okay.
how
If
many
5,000
recruiters
is
do they
too
hire,
much,
et cetera.
what's his ideal? What's your ideal in your niche, which is some kind of drafting or so whatever, design engineers, whatever.
Me?
No, Gavin. I
Oh.
can't remember what he
No,
put.
Gavin's in
Oracle,
You're
ERP.
Oracle. That's right, Oracle sales. right?
Okay, not sales.
Oracle-
How many?
ERP.
Just give me a number. Don't make me beg. What size of niche? If 5,000 is too many, because everyone here thinks that's too little. Okay, what's the right size?
In staffing, I've got 647.
647 companies or candidates?
Candidates.
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 Why is that such a specific number?
Because I just know that's how many candidates. I know all of them. There are
All the
there are
Oracle
more than-
candidates in whatever area you work, you know who all of them are?
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
I mean,
Okay.
I've already placed every one of your people twice almost. I'm like,
Yeah, because don't forget staffing. So people move on a regular basis. They might
Okay,
say
he
8
places
months,
them on
10
temp.
years, and some
He's
of them say
temp.
4
He's
months.
contract
So,
guy. Okay,
you know,
your guys are contract. They're not permanent, are they?
correct.
Okay, that's different. That makes it a lot different. I think.
is most of Europe on contract? It seems like everyone I talk to, they're on a year contract or a 2-year contract.
Well, they don't have right to work, and they don't have at will employment. Everything is regulated by the government, so you can't just fire somebody willy nilly, and
I know.
you just can't quit willy nilly.
Germany,
Okay.
months.
To answer your question, Rich, a lot of the professionals, like for example in Belgium, all the doctors, all the lawyers, a lot of the IT people, they're all freelance. You know, we've got how many? I think it's 600,000 people who are freelance out of a total workforce of.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not
it's-
interested in Belgium. I want to ask Rich a question before he goes. Okay, don't wreck the show. You're here for once in a million years now. and you wanna- Okay, Rich said, okay, he doesn't mind sending work emails. Gavin, I was just joking. Okay, he doesn't mind. Rich says work email is what people check the most. Okay, and people who get mad at you because you sent them an email to their work, they're not worth worrying about. The top people in their field, they don't care about getting unsolicited emails. They're not so sensitive, okay? And if someone whines, can I read this, Rich?
Sure.
You want to say it?
I wrote. I remember writing it, but I forget what I wrote.
You said if your company is so, this is what you tell the guy, okay? If your company's so worried about you leaving, they should do more to make you want to stay. That's a nice one. But you also said only communists worry about their boss reading their.
I thought that was hilarious. And to piggyback on that, I would say if your client gets mad at you, I mean, if your company gets mad at you because a recruiter solicited you, what a shitty company that is. Like,
Exactly.
be mad at the recruiter, don't be mad at the candidate. If you happen to get an email from me and you're like, oh, my boss is mad at me, why is he mad at you? Because you exist?
I mean, seriously, I'm sorry you're an employee. I mean, but think about it. You know, what do you check every day? You check your work email all day long. Most people, maybe it pops up on your phone. Most people, like I've got 3 other personal emails I haven't checked in months. You know, I got one I check maybe every 2 weeks. You know, but I check my work email every day.
Every day. He's right. It pops up on my phone. If I hear a ding in my office, I can look at my phone and there's the email because everything's synced. It's like you check it nonstop.
And then think about it. Gmail, Yahoo, they all changed their spam filtering this year. Everything goes into spam. If you're not a known entity, you got a link in there, a picture in there. There's a very good chance you're going to spam.
Okay,
Yes,
for personal
Kelly
emails.
Nelson sent me an email the other day that went to spam.
Yeah.
And we email back and forth. Man, the rules are retarded.
Yeah.
My French.
Okay, I thought those adjustments that people make take care of that problem.
We did, but there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, nothing perfect can work too. Work emails.
Okay,
don't.
Rich also said, before Rich goes, he said, I used to mainly, he said one other thing. If you're worried about Big Brother, maybe you're working in the wrong place. Okay, that's what he said. Okay, and he's sort of trying to make people laugh when you say only communists are worried about this kind of stuff. What are you living in Russia? Okay, okay, Rich said, he's a scientist, okay? I used to mainly target personal email, and then I ran a test using work email, and the response rate increased, and they were positive responses. I've been doing it that way for a while now, okay? So Rich is making a task for reminding him later, I know. But he's saying that work email works better, and he tested it out, okay?
I think email probably you'll get more people reading your emails at work, right? As Rich had said, because first of all, companies reduce their spam filters until they catch you, and you can tell if you've been caught. And then secondly, like you said, everybody reads it. So there's nothing wrong with work emails. The messaging has to be a little different than sending it to a personal, I think.
Yeah, it should be, but I'm lazy. And it's the same.
How should it be different? This one guy said, he said,
Here's- You know what? Honestly, I take it back. It does not need to be different because it's the same
Well, I think
freaking.
to keep you like some companies have filters. So if they see headhunter, recruiter, employment in the email, it automatically gets flagged. So that's what I mean by changing the verbiage. You know, take out the stuff that would identify you to a company.
All those things, like again, I do sales guys, so all I can say for sales folks, everything I say in an email is generally a spam word because they all have sales related spam filters on the wording. So you have to be very careful how you word any of those things. But you should never have headhunter and stuff like that, or they
have to know who you are. I mean, if you don't say something, one of those words, they're going to think, people say, oh, I only send very generic messages so they can't identify me as a recruiter.
Well, you know what? I haven't tried this, but I wonder if you could tell ChatGPT to rewrite this email avoiding all the top spam trigger words.
Yeah, it's called you can tell it to check it for spam words and tell it to do spin tax. You can do both.
Yeah, with the spin text, but but that's how I would do it. But all right, guys, hey, I gotta hop. Good to see you. Good to see you, Gavin. It's been a while.
See you later. Take care.
Take care, Ray.
All right,
We
see you
did a
guys.
little of your ad already, so maybe I'll come back to it, even though you're not here. Take care. Okay. What about this? This guy, he says he sends messages, the real deep message on LinkedIn. Then he sends an email saying, look, we've been trying to get in touch with you. I know people don't check their in-mail too often, but can you check it out and see what I've got to say? Gavin, what do you think of that? Is that decent? Oh, Tommy doesn't like it.
It's okay.
Well, you went like this. This is crap. That's what your body language said. Gavin?
Well, I agree. I mean, email is one of the worst ways of contacting anybody.
Oh, yeah, but that's what he says. It's not good, but he sends the email to send them there, right? Or you could use a voicemail. Say, check your email. I've been trying to leave you a message. I haven't had a reply. So you're against all those non-speaking means of connection. Is that right?
Specifically for prospective clients. For candidates, I would leave messages.
Oh, wow. Voicemail.
Anything. For candidates, yeah, but not for clients.
Okay, and will you contact those candidates at work?
Oh, yeah.
And will you contact them by email on their work email? Or your guys don't really have work emails, do they? Because they're freelancers.
No, but what I definitely had for a long while was me trying to convince people who were employees to go freelancing because there was such a shortage of candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So then definitely go into organizations and try and nick as many people out of there as possible.
So how did you persuade them to make such a big change?
Well, I don't know what it's like in North America, but over here, you will probably earn, and this is brutto, right? This is before taxes. You'll probably earn a salary of about maybe 5,000 to 6,000 a month, euros. But then as a freelancer, you'll earn for the same job, the same level, the same experience, 12 to 18,000. Yeah. Count more or less 50% taxes and all that, right? So netto, it is much more interesting to be freelance in most countries in Europe than to be an employee.
But it's more insecure. It's more
Sorry?
insecure. What are the objections? It's insecure.
Well, the biggest is the insecurity. because they still believe. Hold on a minute, I've got my wife calling me. That they still believe that there is actual real safety by being an employee, which, let's face it, it's not true really. But there's still that
Especially in Europe, because you guys have universal health care and you have very good employee protections. So
Yeah.
I would absolutely sell the freelancing is the way to go in Europe.
See, but my constant question is, if you're persuading somebody to make a big change on your say-so, if it doesn't work out, you're taking a lot of responsibility on your shoulders. Don't you see it that way?
I fully agree. I fully agree. And I've had a bad case where I convinced somebody and he actually didn't do it as I'd said. Given his notice months before, he had a long notice period, and he arrived in the market at the wrong time. There was no job, and in the end, he actually lost his house.
Well, I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't sleep at night with that.
Yeah,
okay?
so that was very,
But
very.
hold on, but that's different. You convinced him to leave, but not to leave to one of the jobs that you were offering, right?
No, you can't. You can't. Clients are looking for people, when you're talking about freelancers, who are available within 2 to 3 weeks. But if you're an employee and you're giving notice, sometimes you're going to give up to 6 months notice in advance.
Okay.
So you can't do it any other way.
Actually, you're doing something even tougher. You want them just to leave without a new job waiting. Is that what you're talking to people about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Tommy, could you do that?
That has always been a big struggle with me, because I am set up to do temp and contract, but I don't have any candidates or know any candidates that are unemployed or be willing to switch jobs. And I think it's different in this country because we don't have universal health care. I mean, telling somebody to go and come work on this contract position for 12 months, 18 months, whatever it is, and trash their health care that they probably have with a decent company versus what they're going to get on contract is tough.
I'm raising a different
That's
issue.
always been a struggle with me.
Gavin was asking them to leave their jobs without a new job to go to.
But I think it's different. I honestly think it's different in Europe because of two things: universal health care and employee protections. It's much stronger in that country. They don't need unions because basically the government is the union for them.
Okay.
And we don't have that in the US. It's at will employment. It's right to work. My boss could walk in and fire me tomorrow. No questions asked. Hey, Tom, things aren't good. Out. You go. You have no recourse. You're done.
Here, Gavin, this might be interesting to you because if you're working in Europe, Microsoft will Teams, they're going to have AI clone your voice and then translate it into a bunch of different languages so you can speak Serbian in your own voice. Okay, will that help people recruit in foreign countries?
Wow. I think that will freak people out more than anything.
That is that's Babelfish, right? That's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where we all won't need to speak more than one language because we'll all have a little Babelfish in our ear and we can understand everyone. I mean,
Theoretically, yeah. Okay. What about what Rich was mentioning a few minutes ago about using WhatsApp for calls? Okay, I've never even used WhatsApp. Do people?
WhatsApp's huge in Europe and Asia. Huge.
In Asia, I know my friend's an Indian guy, and his whole network around the world is on WhatsApp. But Gavin,
I guess it's because with Apple, it's blue, and with text, so that way WhatsApp, I think, kind of took over as an easy way to text because it didn't matter what kind of phone you had, where you were, you could get a hold of the person. Whereas back in the day, sometimes Apple didn't talk well with Android.
Okay, but how do you find out the person's WhatsApp? How do you find out
it's
about
their phone number? It's their phone number.
It's your mobile.
Oh, it's
the mobile phone number.
It's no hand.
My WhatsApp is my mobile phone number.
Yeah, and so it's encrypted. And of course, here, I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but here, most cities, you've got free Wi-Fi wherever you go.
Oh, really?
Oh, Gavin, you sweet summer child. That's communism in this country. We don't do that shit. That might actually give somebody an opportunity to pull their bootstraps up, and they need their bootstraps put down.
Okay. So before I move on into things that are not relevant to Gavin, do you have any issues that you think are hot? You did tell us that one issue right away is the junior recruiters, they don't like talking on the phone. They want to send messages. Okay. Any other big issues that you notice that you find interesting these days? No.
This might be a bit controversial, but for the last couple of weeks, I've been getting so fed up with this whole AI business. It's just
As I got this for tomorrow or for Friday.
He's an AI fanboy. He's turned me on to AI.
okay. Let me get things very straight here. I've got two bugbears. Bugbear number one is that I would say about probably 75% or a bit more of all recruiters that I talk to say that or expect AI to basically take over their job and make it so much easier. And it's not that at all. It's a thing to help you do your job better and more productively. But these people are so lazy and they just want to find a way of having to work less. And that drives me nuts. So that's the first thing. The second thing is if you go onto any sort of platform, whether it's LinkedIn, whether it's anywhere, and you look at all the talks, webinars, and all that about AI, they all talk about the same thing. And I'm like, can you just all shut up a bit and we can just listen to one or two a year and we'll know the same thing? Because each time you think, oh, this might be interesting, maybe there is really something new that's going to come out of this one.
It's a big thing. It's world shaking. At least that's what everybody says.
So a couple of things. Gavin, have you seen Claude's new AI controls your computer?
No.
Okay, so I actually have watched 4 or 5 videos on that, and I could smell the unemployment watching the video, right? And when I say that, it's not going to take away our soft skills, it's not going to take away our business development. But for the sourcers whose job is to find all the structural engineers in Chicago with a civil engineering degree and 5 years experience, AI can now do that.
Yeah, but that
and the computer will go and the computer will actually, you'll see the mouse move and grab the link and put it into a spreadsheet. And then, so that's the scary part, right? Like on the AI side. But then on what you said is also, you're right. Everyone is an AI expert. Anyone who's used AI all of a sudden and is prompt engineering, we're inundated with the same crap over and over and over. And you're absolutely right. Everybody asks me, what do you use AI for? I don't use AI to take, what's the word you would said is like, it's not going to take jobs away. It makes my job easier in certain aspects, but it also makes me more productive and look more professional and allows me to present to my clients in a way that I wasn't able to do before. That's what I'm able to do with AI, right? I'm able to use that to make me, because I have horrible grammar, I have horrible spelling and handwriting. So the presentations I now give when I present a candidate to a client is earth-shattering to them. They're like, this is amazing, thank you so much. And they're like, you did all this? Like, how did you do this? This is amazing, right? It makes me look like fucking Wonder Woman, right? Or Superman, and it's amazing. So
Wonder Woman, there's something in the
you have to figure out what works for you and not think that everything is to, like, go out and buy everything, right? Oh, this is going to save me. No, I mean, and don't get caught up in it either. Don't use it to generate your LinkedIn messages without looking at it and making it sound real. Because so many of these posts sound so robotic. It's like, oh, that was AI. And I have ones that I make that go out every week for like, hey, call me if you want a job. But everybody knows it's AI. I make fun of the fact that it's AI. But when I make a real post, it's a real post. And people tend to forget about that too.
I've got a list of recruiter. Tom might have seen this. She tells you what she's using ChatGPT for, to write job descriptions. And if she's written them herself, to correct them, go over it for them, to edit, okay, to summarize a resume or a LinkedIn profile, and then put it into a bullet point format, to help write email sequences for outreach, okay, so it's writing, but there's a logic there that one has to follow the other logically, okay, and to, again, she says to critique and spell check and improve resumes. It's mostly note-taking, summarizing information. That she didn't say, if you want to learn something about a new industry, you could put a few.
I have that. I have an agent that will, if Gavin calls me tomorrow and says, Tom, man, I need help for Oracle something or another in Georgia, I can put it in there and it will tell me everything I need to know about an Oracle, whatever he does, what questions to ask candidates at the 3 different levels. The agent that I've made will ask a candidate who's entry level, mid-level, and senior level, right? And why am I asking that? And then AI will tell you why to ask that question, what's the reason for it, and what's a suitable answer. And then it will give me 25 questions to ask a hiring manager if I want to do a search with that hiring manager. So I have that. Then I have one that I use for example, give me all the alternate titles for structural engineer, and then put them in a Boolean form for me. So it'll give me a giant Boolean string with every single alternate title for a structural engineer, right? Or for a sales rep, right? Think of all, like when you're doing a search sometimes, you're like, God, I want to find all, I'm in a small niche or a small market. I need to find all the sales reps. What do you use for sales, right? So think about how many different things can be a sales rep: account executive, regional manager, district manager, DSM, outside sales, inside sales, sales. There's so many. You just ask AI and they'll give you a whole list, put them in a Boolean string, drop it into whatever sourcing thing you're using, and all the like, sales manager or sales rep or DSM, or put it into like Chatterworks, and boom, you have access to all those people and you're not missing out on anybody. Like stuff like that, when you start really thinking what AI can do for you.
But you see, when you explain that like that, I'm listening to you and I'm saying, Tom knows how to recruit. He's got a tool to make himself more productive. Yeah. What I get sometimes is I get people coming to me saying, Gavin, I'm fed up having to read any of the CVs that come in. Can you get AI to do it? And I'm thinking, what?
Yes, they can get AI to do it.
They can, but what it's gonna do is get rid of people that you wouldn't have looked at otherwise. Like there's nothing that AI can't, the soft skills, like, I don't know, like I'll use an example. I got a guy right now that's interviewing, he's going to get an offer tomorrow, right? For a $35,000 fee. This guy, the AI would not have grabbed this guy if I put in the parameters of the job, but he was a Navy SEAL, for Christ's sake. He managed a team of logistics in the Navy. He has sales experience selling something totally different from my client, but I knew that once I talked to him, his personality was spot on for my client. So they're taking a chance on this guy, even though he doesn't come from their industry. If you do that with AI, you're never going to get those diamonds in the rough that you wouldn't have found otherwise. Yeah, you could use it for bottle washers and ditch diggers and flagmen and roofers. Yeah, but if for the stuff we do, the soft skills, the stuff that we use our brains for, you're never going to get AI to do that.
Yeah, I think you're rationalizing your own value, because it sounds to me like pretty soon AI could people this whole conversation, could take the place of all three of us and have mimic a human conversation.
You're absolutely right, Animal. And who's going to be using that? It's going to be end clients, especially the large corporations, and they've been doing it already for quite a few years. But it doesn't mean that us at a agency level, we should get down to that level. We should bring that added value. The example that Tom just gave, that is why we need to continue existing.
Because their AI is not going to grab that guy.
Yeah.
Okay, how many of those guys? That guy's a fluke for you. Somebody who's completely outside of the industry.
But I get flukes like that all the time. That's what makes me really good at what I do.
If they're
understand my client's culture is more important.
They're not flukes. And Gavin, I have to say, if you're training recruiters, I would have imagined, now I know there's other skills that are important that you could just focus on them, but I would imagine you would have to make sure you knew at least as much as Tom about what's happening in the AI field in recruiting. I'm surprised you just feel comfortable ignoring it.
Well, I think, because he doesn't need to, because it's when someone comes in and says, help it read it. That recruiter is not serious. That's not a serious recruiter. That's not someone who wants to do this job properly. So let them go find some other idiot that's going to teach them how to use some chatbot to screen resumes, and then they won't make any placements, or they won't make those diamond in the rough placements. So there's no reason for him to really want to do that unless he figures out a way to make it productive and do it the right way.
You just told us, and everybody's saying they use Meta. You need to know about 4 different note taking. So they say I never take any notes anymore, and then AI. Tom says this, and then it summarizes everything into bullet points. That's important. And some people say, look, it saves me so much time. I'm surprised.
Yeah, Animal. Look at listen to what you just said. You are talking about a process that you understand, that you know how it works. I'm talking about people who do not know that process.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because people just throw shit out there.
I have yet to meet a recruiter that has come to me for advice that I can't help. Yeah. And some of these people come from very large organizations that supposedly have been trained to the hilt and all that, but actually some of their basic things are missing, and I've got stuff to train them on. And then afterwards, once they've got all the basics, then they can go and move on to AI and simplify their job. But let's get the basics sorted out. You know, you will never get somebody who comes into the recruitment industry that doesn't do any training and that only want to use AI and become $1 million biller.
It's
Okay.
like every shitty recruiter trainer out there that isn't like Gavin, that to sell some pie in the sky $6,000 can make you $1 million biller, and it's the same shit that Finkel's been saying for 20 years, or Radner's been saying that, whatever, and all these recruiters see that, go, oh, if I buy that, I can bill $1 million, and then they don't, and they don't know why, because it's not real training. It's not what Gavin puts together and looks at the person and says, okay, these are your issues, these are your problems, these are your pain points, this is how you become a better recruiter. You need to, you know, I'm just using an example, make more calls, use less AI, email at a different time zone, your email strategies worse, your rebuttals are bad, or whatever, and then you put that together for them. But there's so many recruiter trainers out there, just like there's so much AI, that think, oh, if I just get this, I'll succeed. People ask me about Loxo all the time. I'm like, if you're not a good recruiter and you don't know how to do all the things that I do, Loxo's not going to make you a better recruiter. It's an applicant tracking system. Yes, there are things in there that work really well, but you got to know the basics. You need the foundations of this job to be successful. No, there's no tool. There's no training.
Yeah, okay.
There's
End
nothing
the
that's going to
blather.
do that.
Okay, end it. I'm gonna rebut what you said. Okay, and
Go
I'm
ahead.
not someone who, I don't know much about AI. Okay, Tom turned me on to it, and I read a little bit about it every day, but I haven't explored this stuff. But what we're saying is that you can find out about an industry or a job. It will teach you. It'll process the information into chewable little bits, bullet points. So you learn something before you talk to a company. You learn something fairly easily, I'm assuming, before you talk to candidates. Okay, it'll tell you what questions to ask, and maybe how to, I don't know, probably not how to grade them. Okay, and then how to taking notes. It takes all your notes and categorizes, summarizes them for it, so you can just ship them out to your client or to the candidate, the job description. So these are major administrative, if nothing else, aspects of recruiting. I think everybody is going to have to know them, or they're going to be
note summary. The prompt that I wrote is based upon my knowledge of my industry and recruiting. Not if you don't know what I do and how I do it, you can't write that prompt that I wrote.
Okay. No, it can teach you, okay, that you don't know anything. You said if Gavin called me,
AI cannot teach you everything.
You said
can't
if
keep
Gavin-
asking it stuff. It'll do the basics. You're never going to get my soft skills that I can use to write a prompt, the AI to tell you.
You're in the talk mood today, okay? You just said if Gavin asked me to do a job in Atlanta for him and I didn't know anything about his field, AI
Because
would
I
tell
know
me,
the basics of recruiting. I'm an expert in recruiting.
Okay.
I'm one of the best recruiters in the world. That's why I could do that, because I have the stuff that I put together to do that.
That's
You
got
know
to be.
what, Annabelle? If you go onto ChatGPT and you ask questions about my way of recruiting, i.e. hyper niche and candidate first, it will not know how to answer the questions. I've created my own GPT. I have taken all my data. I've got over 400 pages.
So now he's given the secret. He knows all about GPT now. He's using it himself. You bluffed
Of
us.
course he's using
Hey,
it, but it's not. It
but
doesn't.
doesn't mean I'm training it all the time.
Yeah, he's not using it to train his. If I call him and say I need your help, Galvin, he doesn't go here. Go onto AI and it'll do it all for you. I mean, there's uses for it, but it's not an end all. And if you don't have the right knowledge and the right way to put the prompts together and ask the information the right way, you're not going to get the answers you want. I see all these prompts out there. Write me a resume. Okay, that's all you're asking? That's all you're fucking asking? Write me a resume? No, there's more to the prompt than that. Or write me a candidate profile. Take this LinkedIn profile and write me a candidate profile. That's not what you ask. You want to see my prompt? It's just fucking long.
Yeah.
Right? You're asking it certain things about your industry or your niche or whatever it is to make sure that when you put together that summary, your client looks at it and looks intelligent. It's not just a bunch of bullet points that you could have pulled off of, copy and pasted off of LinkedIn. You don't need AI for that.
Okay, let's agree to disagree. What's that? Emergency. It's an emergency alert. Okay, thanks. Anything else you guys want to raise before we finish the show? I'm so quite surprised the way it's going on, and this Tom was just. I don't understand what he's been talking about for the last 15 minutes anyway. Sorry, I don't. Tom's got a show, by the way. If you want to hear him do that on his show.
The too long don't read. The too long don't read is AI is good, but you have to have the knowledge to make it good, right? It'll do what you wanted it to do. But if I wanted to be a chef tomorrow,
yeah, we've heard
AI is
about
not
it
gonna help
already.
me become
I'm
a
saying
chef.
it'll give you the knowledge to do what you want to do.
AI is not going to help me become a chef.
Like me, anybody like me who's is going to be left behind in the dirt. That's what I think. If they don't smarten up, Rich.
I will say yes. You should
Tom is ahead of
absolutely
the
play
curve.
with it.
Gavin is secretive about it, but he knows all about it.
You should absolutely play with AI. You should learn how to use it so you don't get left behind.
Okay.
And that doesn't mean you have to be an expert. You just need to know how to use it and find use cases that work for
do
you.
my ad for you guys. Tommy has a great show. If you think he just told us he's one of the best recruiters in the world, and I believe it. Okay, I believe it. I believe it.
You know the difference between God and a headhunter?
No.
God doesn't think he's a headhunter.
Yeah, I didn't get that. Okay. But I'm going to say that these two guys are both some of the best recruiters in the world, in my experience. Okay. And so if you want to hear Tom, and he's doing a lot of demos of this new stuff, that's what what Typing Mind is on Friday, right? Is that what you're
browser extensions like Liner and Max AI and Merlin, Typing Mind set up, and then look into things like Perplexity, which are AI-based search tools using Google real-time results.
Anyway, if you want to go there, go to LinkedIn. It's on 12:30 Eastern on Fridays. And if you go to the Recruiter Roundtable on LinkedIn, you'll find the link. Okay. But if you just want to watch.
Hey, Animal, look what I bought. You were giving me a hard time?
What does it say?
The recruiterroundtable.com. I finally bought it.
Okay, yeah, but I don't see it does say Recruiter Round. Oh, yeah, okay, good. The recruiterroundtable.com. Where will that take you? To the Meet, Google Meet?
It's on my web. I just sent my web guy. It'll send you to the LinkedIn page right now.
Oh, okay. So that'll take you to recruiterroundtable.com. I was bugging him about every week. What an idiot he was in. I had to tell him.
We have a LinkedIn company page where you can get all the information. To YouTube where all the information
is. If you don't want to join, you can still watch the shows on YouTube, the recorded shows under Palermo Rhodes or the Recruiter.
At Palermo Rhodes, one word.
Okay. And Gavin. He's the hyper niche. Is that the right term, Gavin? I just picked it up from Tom. Hyper niche. Is that the good term? You're the hyper niche recruiter?
Whatever people want to call it. I could just call it the niche because everybody should be working that way.
I remember you've got a classic line on one of the clips that I put on YouTube, and it says, "I'll be knocking on your door." I forget. It's something about being a persistent or relentless pursuer of business development people.
That's why I don't need to leave voicemails.
Yeah, I guess not. I'll be knocking on your door. But he's at everythingaboutrrecruitment.com. He's got a very unique approach. You gathered it here. I was shocked when he told us now that it's, his ideal niche is under 1,000 people. Wow. Anyway, thanks very much.
Respond to that question, and it makes sense. Like if I placed, only pre-engineered metal building engineers, and that's all I did, and do every single pre-engineered metal building engineers, that's a niche. And I'm more of an industry expert.
We didn't get into the definitions because Gavin said you don't work a niche, and neither does Rich. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with him. He was right.
Okay. Next time you come, Gavin, we'll argue that one. Nice to see you. It's been a while. Take care.
Cheers, guys. Great to catch up. You take care.
Gavin, always a pleasure. Adam, always a pleasure. Have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving if I don't see you next week.
You know that Indian fuck off, by the way.
Oh, that is? How about that?
No, Churchill used to do this, Gavin. That's he.
It was like
no, he didn't do this. Churchill did.
So I do it this way instead of this way.
Peace.
I do this. There's my two.
Okay.
Hang loose and
at the home.
Peace.
Okay. Goodbye, everybody. See you later.